What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's. Hey. We here, man. Freedmen's Collective, man.
Yeah.
2022.
Hey, y'all thought we fell off. See, look at y'all. Y'all like, where they at? Where they at? It's been a month. Hey, we got families and stuff. We got business to take care of, personal business. We bring all this as a labor of love. And, we be busy, man. We need a break. This is, heavy stuff,
Most definitely. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in tonight. As you guys can see, we're going to be talking about Fresh and Fit, as well as some local politics and even some reparations. I guess the core of our show is going to be discussed tonight: Black politics, reparations, and some of the foolery that's going on in our community. I'm Ernest. I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm located out here in Lansing, Michigan, and I'm working with three strong Freedmen brothers on trying to get reparations pushed out here in the Lansing area. You guys want to introduce yourself before we do the simple, introductions, I guess, of the show?
Go ahead, Stedman and Gerard.
Yeah, it's Stedman, aka Conspiracy Brother, coming in, 2022. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but I'm gonna do one for the show. So this year I'm gonna resolve to bring the heat, to bring the information, to bring the passion, to bring the pain and the power, so that we can finally get stuff moving. I vow this new year, to continue to up the ante in the name of justice for freedmen. So, I'm glad y'all came. I'm like I said, we had a little hiatus. We had to take a little reprieve or whatever, but we back. We here.
Yo, it's your East Side commentator. You know what I'm saying? Your homeboy JBL, you know what I mean? Your resident Spartan's Will, you know what I mean? To my homeboy Stedman, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got a feud going on right now.
Yeah, we got a feud.
There ain't no feud.
No, it is a feud. You're gonna recognize the Spartan Will, bro. You're gonna recognize the Spartan's Will right now, bro. But either way, man. You know what I'm saying? It's your homeboy JBL. We coming from the east side of Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Representing that Spartan's Will. Screw the Wolverines. They lost and massive. You know what I'm saying? Georgia kicked their booty all over the world. You know what I'm saying? We won our bowl game, and I end that.
Hey.
All right, so I'm Darvell. I'm a guy hiding out in the cut, down in the cut, over across the cut. So I'm just the dude doing the buttons and the clicking and the shit like that. So welcome to the show. And as my man's Ernest said, Ernest, my audio good? I gotta double check that, but
we can definitely hear you.
We hear you, bro.
No, I was just gonna say that as he said, we're gonna go through a number of topics tonight. Right, we're gonna hit on some local beat for Detroit. We're definitely gonna touch on Brenda Lawrence, and then we're gonna get into Jim Clyburn and what he done did to double cross the community for the 19,373rd time.
You know it.
And then we're gonna get into this Fresh and Fit stuff, y'all. So don't fold on us. We're gonna get into the Fresh and Fit, and Gerard's gonna unpack it. He's gonna stew it. He's gonna chop it up, and you're gonna have a nice dinner.
Yes, sir.
And before we jump into it, make sure you guys like, subscribe. We're going to be trying to keep the show cadence every other 2 weeks like we have done in 2021. And so there might be some periods where we get some breaks in there, but we'll definitely let you guys know in advance. But if you also want to, Darvell, we got a call in.
Yeah, we do have a call in. So I'm going to put that number down at the bottom of the screen. We got a new number, y'all, 586.
Please call in.
4607. So that'll be scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So definitely call in.
We want the smoke. Bring the smoke, please.
You know what? So this is the thing, guys. What we're also going to do is, right now, if you're on Twitter, go ahead and share this video and tag Fresh and Fit and tag they Fresh and Fit crew. I'm sure they got a hashtag. Bring them on through. Bring your peoples. I'm going to be doing that here in a second after I clean up this other stuff. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. And like I said, hang tight with us. We're going to get through these topics and we're going to have a good night. Ain't all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, guess what, gentlemen? We need to talk about something. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about.
We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about, Darvell. Bring it to us. Bring it home, brother.
What's up with our lady? Hold on. What's up with our lady, Miss Lawrence? Okay.
Oh, she don't want to run no more. She don't want to do it no more. She don't want to run no more, bro.
That's
Michigan's
coincidental, ain't it?
Black
What's her-
member of Congress.
What's her name? What's the mayor? Keisha Bottoms. That's kind of suspicious, ain't it? All these strong black women. It's just saying, you know what? I spent my whole life in politics. I'm just gonna stop.
Keisha's in Atlanta, right?
Right. Well, she's the mayor of Atlanta, but she's not seeking re-election either. It's just very suspicious to me.
So
the guy Cronasy, you know what I mean? The black bone of the Democratic Party don't want to run no more.
Right.
Oh.
Right. You don't want the power no more? Listen to
what?
black women, they say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, here's the deal, right? So let me read a little bit of this so everybody knows what's popping. The Detroit Free Press recently reported that U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence of Southfield, that's the uppity black extension of Detroit, the West Side extension, my bad, Southfield, announced Tuesday she will not be running for re-election this year, meaning Michigan will lose its only current black member of Congress. Ain't this ridiculous? They're not even talking about a member of the House of Representatives. They're talking about a member of Congress. That means for both houses, both the House and the Senate. We don't have nobody black from Michigan, and Michigan contains the blackest city in the damn country. We ain't got nobody in there. That's stupid.
Nope.
This goes back to the not Jim Clyburn, but goes back to HR 40 and what's my man?
John Conyers.
Conyers.
Yeah, John Conyers.
Oh, but who's sitting in Conyers' seat now?
Rashida
Tlaib.
Tlaib.
Queen of the squad.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess she's not a queen. She's like a teammate.
Queen. She's
squad cheerleader. But okay, so all right, so Michigan will be losing its only black member of Congress. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California said in a statement released on Wednesday that over her 4 terms in House, Congresswoman Lawrence has been a force for equality and justice for all. Full stop, y'all. That's already where the problem is. The byline of today's show is what? The failure of black leadership. When somebody can come out and say she's been a force for justice and equality for all, but she represents the blackest freaking city in the country, which also is on the lowest end of all the social economic factors in the country. Who you think you should be really championing for right now, Ms. Lawrence?
You got to pull up that Monique gift where she say, "I would like to see it," because I don't know nothing about her. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about her. She been silent. I actually called. This had to be 3 years ago about HR 40. Never got in contact with her office. Never got in contact with her. Never got a call back. Nothing. I don't know what she do. She must only care about Southfield because I know she don't do nothing for Detroit, even though that was my district.
I mean,
yeah. So at the end of the day, so at the end of the day, Brenda Lawrence district only covered like a small sliver of the east side of Detroit. So Rashida Tlaib holds the 13th district. Brenda Lawrence holds the 14th district. You know what I mean? Which splits the city. You know what I mean? So, ultimately, Brenda Lawrence's district is really mostly Southfield at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is true. That's true.
And
but Southfield is black.
Southfield is the new, is really, I want to call the new Detroit. If we're gonna go to if y'all old enough to remember RoboCop. If y'all old enough to remember RoboCop, you know what I'm saying? RoboCop dealt with the new district Detroit, and that was the 14th district, you know what I'm saying, at its best.
Bro.
And so because she was a mayor of Southfield, she was able to parlance that into that district. But the thing is that they redistricted. So the reason why one of the reasons why I feel that she's leaving out is because with this independence council that that are doing the redistricting based off of the 2020 census, we're going to lose a district. And so she doesn't want to compete. She's old. She doesn't want to, compete anymore. And that's she's giving her last final hurrah. You know what I mean? and just bowing out.
So she's being cut out, and she's not choosing to continue to fight to take another seat that someone else is basically sitting in. Like because that's what happens when you lose districts, right? You now have everyone who's still there fighting over what's left.
Yeah.
But
ultimately, that's my opinion of this whole order of things.
Well, let me see what
else.
I think Go ahead.
I think a lot of that too is, she doesn't want to cause any internal fracturing with the party. So just let everybody stay in the seats that they got. You drop out and don't worry about it. And that's just shows, you have these black politicians and they have a greater allegiance to the party than they do have to the constituents they're supposed to represent. Because it's important that you have in a state like Michigan, where 17% of the state is black, roughly, that you have a representative in Congress who speaks for us. You know what I'm saying? It's important that you have that. But if you say, well, I'm gonna just be a good Democratic, apparatchik or good little Democratic girl and get my pats on the head and Nancy Pelosi say good things about me, when I get out of Congress, maybe I can get a job with her husband or something, or get some kind of, like no cushy job where I'm getting paid all this money and I ain't got to really do nothing. You know what I mean?
That's how it happens, right? You get into that office and basically you get access to so much more than just the actual role of being a representative, and people want to grab for all those biscuits. They see them biscuits on the shelf, and so they have to abide by the law and order of the prevailing culture, which the prevailing culture of the U.S. government today is pitted against the entire black community entirely, especially freedmen and their descendants. It has nothing for us other than to keep us just close enough that we keep voting blue, right? So,
I mean, if you're looking at the statement right there alone, I would say it shows that she just wasn't bold enough. And so when you're looking at John Conyers, the move that he made during that time was probably bold, considering, reparations not being a focus at all politically or any form of legislation. But when you have that mode already there and you're a black congressman or congresswoman, and you're not taking those steps to be bold to actually achieve that change, like you were just listing out the disparities that Detroit has, being the blackest city in America. And it's like, if you ain't taking steps to fix that, then you really, you're really not doing the people a true service. And that's just, that's my opinion on it.
No, that's usually how it is. And that's it right there. Pelosi would want to say she has long fought to uplift working women and communities of color, and from better maternal health care to more apprenticeship opportunities to action on gun violence and more. Oh, okay. You didn't shut down no gun violence in Detroit, ma'am. In Southfield, they just ticking up. And just, I wanted to touch on that one thing. We talked about Southfield, and we're saying that she basically represents all of Southfield at least. I just went and ran a quick search, and the statistic is very clear that, listen, Southfield back in 1970 was like 1% black. 1%. Today, it's 70% black and 25% white. The rest is everybody else. So you got 75% non-white now. You know why? You know how that changes so drastically within 30 to 40 years? The entire movement of white people throughout Metro Detroit, in terms of, and then where black people went into the vacuums, and that whole move of white flight, that circular pattern, that's something we've talked about on here before. And that's exactly what that is. You've never seen a stark of a contrast and an example like Southfield. Southfield is an epicenter of what they want to call black excellence today. But in reality, that isn't saying a whole lot, because it's not that great anymore. Not like the women who I've met who grew up there and what they went through when they were children. That's not what Southfield is anymore. I mean, they were just talking about kids bringing guns into the school the other month. They out there trying, like, after the whole shoot up situation, unfortunately, not shoot up. Please forgive me. After the entire high school gun situation, the shooting in, what was the city up the way in Michigan?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
There were kids all over the dang country just started trying the schools, and they definitely tried it in Southfield as well. And that was a whole stunt, but whatever. Anyway.
You talking about that the high school shooting, right?
Yes. So
does the article say how many terms she served?
So I think she served 4. An initial statement sent out by
Yeah, so that's
Lawrence's
8
office on
years.
Tuesday night did not explain her decision not to run for a 5th 2-year term. On Wednesday, she clarified that she was leaving to spend more time at home. What, her house?
67.
Is she going to her house to sit down?
And just to kind of comment on what you're saying, just looking at, we understand the migration of black people in Detroit and around Metro Detroit, the migration of white people, white flight or whatever. When I was talking to a lady when I lived in Virginia, I said, there's about 5 million people in Metro Detroit. She was like, no, there's not. And I'm like, yeah, there is. So then she got her Siri out, and Siri was like, yeah, it's 5 million, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, people don't realize there's still a lot of people in this state. They just don't live in Detroit. They live all around Detroit. So when you drive out to like Canton, because my dad, like, he can remember in the 70s when there wasn't anything in Canton at all but like farms. Mm-hmm. So like you've seen where when black people start to move to white neighborhoods, which is a condition of redlining and disenfranchisement of black homeowners, black people in this country, when they finally are able to move to white neighborhoods or to good neighborhoods, the whites move out. And so that degrades the quality of this neighborhood. Same with Detroit. Like I was saying with Durfee. It's my first time going to the building, and I went today, me and my wife. And I said, look at all these buildings and stuff. You see how schools in Detroit used to be well put together and, whatever. I said, but after whites move out of the city, the tax base falls, the schools fall too. So the structures fall, the homes fall, and the overall area it becomes devalued. And so we see these kind of things happening. So just like you said with Southfield, where at one point in time, black people were moving to Southfield because I'm near Detroit, but I'm not in Detroit, and it's safer, it's nicer, I have better opportunity. You don't have that now. What you have now is a majority of black people are moving to Southfield. A majority of whites are moving further and further out.
Yep.
And so you stuck in a situation where, it's a new ghetto now. Everywhere you go, it's a new ghetto because we talk about redlining. The government incentivized mortgage companies. The government incentivized realtors. It incentivized homeowners to disenfranchise black people, to not want black people in their neighborhoods because that brought property values down.
So that's definitely what we've seen throughout that area. But it's said that, it's been speculated that Lawrence was dissatisfied with the new redistricting process, which is what we've talked about, which final maps released late last month connected her home base of Southfield in the west side of Detroit with Dearborn, Westland, and other parts of western Wayne County. She is not represented, which means that she may have had a harder time even getting elected if she had to deal with Dearborn folks. Like the west side of Detroit, okay. But if she was having to fight for Dearborn votes.
But you don't need Dearborn. If you got Westland, Wayne, if you still got your Southfield, if you got Detroit, because you know what I'm saying? She could have still won. If that's all it took. She just didn't want to run. Because you don't need Dearborn to win if you can win those other areas. And since you have a longer history as a member of Congress, even if you have a less consequential history relative to Tlaib, with her getting that news coverage, let it be a toss-up, but you just gonna quit? That sounds to me like you backdooring. Like something is gonna happen for your benefit, like we talked about with Garland Gilchrist not fighting against Winfrey for the clerkship when he lost by a couple hundred votes or a percentage point.
Right.
We'll give you something if you just go home. So you just sit home and you collect a check. They'll put you on the board of some company. Somebody's husband or wife or friend will put you on the board, and you good. You sit at home at 67. Now you want to retire. Why did you run for this job? You was old 8 years ago. You was 59. What are you talking about? You was old then.
So let me ask y'all a question then. Yep. So what's the implications here? If she's been in office for 8 years and she ain't do nothing for the black community versus her not being in this position,
what are we losing?
What are we really losing at this point? Is kind of.
I think we're sealing.
Is it representation though? Is that?
That's it. That's it.
So like representation, but at the same time, we're saying that she isn't necessarily representing those interests, right?
Oh, definitely. It's the optics of representation. I think it's more symbolic of the changes that you're seeing within the state and definitely within the Metro Detroit region, that you don't even have viable black candidates who can win in heavily populated black areas. You know what I'm saying? That's what that says to me more than anything.
Right.
Because, I mean, materially, there's no difference. You know, if you didn't know she was there, there's no difference in her being there and not being there. But, you know, the optical perspective of having no black members of Congress in one of the blackest states in the North and one of the blackest states in the country, honestly.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous.
Like Darvell said, in the blackest large city in America.
That's the point there right there.
So redistricting was not a factor in my decision, she claims, though. While it would have been a challenging race, I'm confident I would have been reelected. Also on Wednesday, Representative Tlaib of Detroit announced that she would run in that new district, even though Tlaib lives in another part of Detroit. The new district connects much of the area she currently represents with Dearborn and Southfield. Oh, great. So if I was still in Southfield, which y'all don't know that I'm not, that would be kind of like sucky. Because she ain't about nothing either.
So somebody's going to fill Tlaib's position then, right?
Well, no, they redistrict. So
hers is going away altogether.
So
right?
Debbie Dingle, who's the wife of John Dingle, who did represent Dearborn prior, I don't know what district. I think it was like 11th or 7th or something. They changed her district. Now her district's like on the other side of the state. But as far as I know, she's still running for re-election. Right? She's been in Dearborn. That was her husband's seat, and I believe he took that seat from his dad. And her husband was like 90 when he died.
Yeah.
So she's still running. But there has been rumors that Sri Tanadar is going to run against Tlaib for her seat. Who the guy, he's an Indian, like a billionaire. He owns like some chemical company or whatever. So they're saying that he's going to challenge Tlaib for her seat so that she might not actually have it. Because he's a lot of black people liked him enough to vote for him for what was it, mayor? No, governor. He split the governor.
It was governor originally.
He split the governor's vote.
Yeah, my man's been doing that thing. He's been working on that thing for a long time.
Yeah, but you know, the funny thing is that, you know, maybe he might get the Indian vote. Because this is the small, people don't understand like Indians in this region, because they work for the auto companies, they have some sort of influence, and they might be able to back him from a financial standpoint to run for that seat.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, even when you look at like Michigan, even Wayne State, they go to school here. And so you have a lot of them, that's why you have a lot of heavy Asian population in Michigan in general, because of those schools. They come to school here and then they stay here. And like you said, they work engineering jobs or whatever for the auto industry.
Yeah.
And, they have, little enclaves around here where they're able to establish roots. And, he has a very good chance of winning.
So so we got to keep it moving here, but I will read this one last statement, right? Lawrence said she will spend the rest of the year fighting to pass voting rights laws and protect women's rights and the environment. A former mayor of Southfield who ran unsuccessfully for Oakland County executive and lieutenant governor. She's the state's only Democratic member of the House Appropriations Committee. I didn't know she had tried to run for Oakland County executive. And how she lose? She was. I knew she was a mayor. I knew she did something in Southfield, but I didn't know she missed that Oakland County executive thing. And the lieutenant governor joint.
Unless she ran recently, I don't see how she thought she was going to beat L. Brooks Patterson for that. No way.
So the rest of this just talks a little bit about kind of like, the congressional district, the redistricting that has gone on. And it says that Michigan will lose one congressional seat due to the faster population growth in other parts of the country, bringing its total number of seats to 13. And as a part of the redistricting process, Lawrence's home in Southfield was merged both with parts of Tlaib's district in Dearborn, which is currently represented by Representative Debbie Dingle in Dearborn. Dingle has already said she planned to run in a new district anchored around Ann Arbor.
Which is far from Dearborn.
Huh?
Ann Arbor is far from Dearborn. That's
right. It's like she's moving where the people who she thinks will reelect her are at. So.
I mean, she's willing to stay and fight and run it for people that's an hour away from where she lives. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. There is no question that Lawrence's departure will underscore concerns by Black voters, particularly in Detroit and its suburbs, and that their political strength is being diluted. And
that's
more
really what it's all about, right there. That political strength being diluted. So now you got like two positions where you're gonna have Asians of a certain ethnic group representing the interests of Black Americans in Detroit, not knowing the needs of these folks. But that's the reality of what's going on.
Ain't
and
it?
So we might see a coalition of POC, BIPOC. Y'all might see that language coming through in Detroit. BIPOC this, BIPOC that.
That's gonna be a mess.
And I mean, even if they do understand the needs, because I'm sure Talib understands generally what the needs of Black Detroiters are, or Inkster or River Rouge, but do you care enough to actually invest your energy in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, she talks a lot about Palestine. She talks a lot about her grandparents in Palestine.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're not spending that same energy talking about Inkster? You're not spending that same energy talking about Black people in Detroit. And so,
priorities there.
Right. Even if you know what we dealing with, are you interested in making that a priority for your time in office? And the answer is, in my opinion, is no.
I wouldn't be surprised. So
I mean, I do want to just point out that, like, Brenda Lawrence served about 4 terms, and there's somebody else we're going to discuss today on the show that has served about 4 terms, probably even more, in his district of South Carolina.
I think he's been there 15, I think.
Yeah. So this person is Jim Clyburn. I want to find out the actual amount of terms that he served. Okay. But we wanted to bring him up, in the conversation because when it comes to reparations, we can understand that Black congressmen and women, they should play a pivotal role in introducing any legislation related to getting reparations for U.S. freedmen, especially if they descend from our lineage or heritage. But what you have seen, I would say, for the last few administrations and even Congress, Congress, is that there has been a lack of I want to say, will or a lack of interest to introduce any legislation that would be specifically for U.S. freedmen. So in the state of South Carolina, we got Jim Clyburn, someone who I would say he has power, because we all know that he was a part of the reason that Joe Biden got elected in the first place.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we know someone who has power has been unwilling to leverage that power in the interest of Negroes at large. And what he has done is, instead chosen to leverage his power to support other groups, other members of society at large, and ignore his population. So what did Jim Clyburn do?
What did he do? So we want to jump over there. Let's look at this Jim Clyburn situation. Let's see what he got going on. And y'all call in if you got any thoughts on this. We definitely want to hear your thoughts on this, because we're about to show you something. We're going to explain it and break it down so you really understand. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not a game. This is not a joke. Oh, what is he doing here? James E. Clyburn, Majority Whip Clyburn, is pleased to see the bipartisan Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act pass House today. This legislation is a significant step towards rectifying historic injustices perpetrated against the Catawba Indian Nation and critical to helping them secure economic self-sufficiency. Rectifying historic injustices. Where you heard that before?
Who
that
Freedmen. Sound like Freedmen to me.
Economic self-sufficiency, though, that's the part.
Oh, that sounds like the Black community unable to do what we can't seem to get together on. But he got a bill for them.
I mean, the government not never willing to help us with that. We just got to boost.
No.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, my dad, he's been saying this. He was like, it almost seems like there is a rule between presidents that you're not going to help Black people, like, as a condition of, like, because really you look at it like it's almost like they got some kind of like law passed or something. Like, look, bro, we're not doing nothing for niggas. Like, we'll talk about it, but we're not doing anything. That's just how it gotta be. Because they don't do nothing for us, bro. They don't do shit for us.
I'm gonna share. They got a video on that page. I want to share and play a little bit of that, and we're gonna see what is he talking about, right? All right, let's see what he's talking about here.
I rise today to call upon this August body for a favorable vote on H.R. 1619.
Y'all couldn't hear that, could you?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, okay.
I heard as much as I wanted to.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to call upon this August body for a favorable vote on H.R. 1619.
HR 1619.
Number for this legislation. This legislation known as the Catawba Indian Nations.
Pause right quick. He's like so giddy about this shit. He almost can't keep composure. He fiddling with his buttons. He fiddling with his shirt. He fiddling with his hands. He's smiling and shit. He looked like you remember Steven, Samuel L. Jackson character? He looks like him.
Yeah.
I never noticed it before. If he didn't have that mustache and them glasses, you could talk. You think you was in Candyland, bro?
I love that movie, man. Django Unchained, man. I love that movie. But go ahead.
Caller, can you hear us?
Got a caller.
Hey there, you're on the show live. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I sure
Please.
can.
Hey,
Hey, Stedman literally just took my joke. I was getting ready to say that about the haircut. Boy looked just like Steven, man. I was like, is he really trying to like be dude? Like visually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's sickening, bro. It's sickening. And then he
It
like
was funny. Let me say one more thing.
Okay.
Before you guys go back on, right? I had to say this. When you said, hey, Jim Clyburn, you guys were talking about what kind of power he has, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, what power does he have? He only has the power to try to be able to convince black people what white people want. He only has that kind of power, right? It's like if he tried to use, he doesn't have any other power besides that, or he wouldn't be there. Right? I think I hate to say that, especially in the state of South Carolina. We already know how they operate, right? But you know, mostly it's like, man, a black man in politics, it's a precarious situation to be in, right? It's almost like a black police officer, right? It's like you're there, right? Remember you guys talking about earlier about the optical. Yeah, basically you're there for optics, right? Like if nigga, you don't get any trying to change things now, nigga. We gonna have to show you what you really are now. And old Jim, you can see he down for the pension, man. This is all about the.
He riding for the biscuits. He
The
want every
lifetime
biscuit the
healthcare.
train got,
man, he gonna get the pension, man. You know, old Jim got a boat somewhere and a nice house on the beach and lake. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, it's too nice to be trying to talk about, hey, we gonna do something for black folks. Hey, look here.
Right.
Y'all hear about this Indian stuff I did? You gotta listen to this.
Yo, what's the name of that boat? I want to know what's the name of that boat that he got over there, man. What y'all think? What's the name of that boat?
I don't know.
That's a good question, man.
Hey, straight cooning.
Just to be clear, I popped into I went and Googled like what's Jim Clyburn's net worth, because I mean you get up here and you're gonna be doing all this shit and crossing over on your people and doing this thing in the third. I hope you got some biscuits, and I hope you got more honey than you got biscuits. He ain't got no biscuits, he ain't got no honey. The man is worth apparently maybe $500,000. I mean, if you're gonna be he majority whip right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but no, listen now. Now look at this. Look at that photo. Look at that photo of him, and you tell me a nigga that looked like that from where he was born at $500,000 is $500 million in that nigga. You talking about $500,000 like somebody with some real ambition?
But he only worth 500,000.
Man. 500,000 is like 500 million to him, man. He'll kill you and everybody in your family about that $500,000 you talking about.
He doing it,
man. What?
He killing everybody in this district,
man. What? Like it don't have to be much, Darville. That's the. You have to understand that it does not have to be much. Okay, look at this dude, man. Come on, man. Think about what kind of broad
listen.
if he
just
wasn't
saying,
in the
like for him. for him, I'm more than confident that he's good and all that and the third. But I'm just saying, like in the grand scheme of how we see it from a critical analysis, is like if you're gonna go in there and run us over, man, I would hope you getting more bacon than that. But whatever, right? It's whatever. It's still the same thing. You got $2, you got 500, you got 5 million. He's still he's still unfortunately a waste of a seat at the table right now for us.
Oh, that's a fact.
All right,
Yeah, he 81 years old, born in 1940 in Sumter, South Carolina. Yeah, man, 500,000. Man, he probably couldn't have dreamed of that when he was born in Sumter in 1940.
Man, well, hey, man, we greatly appreciate you calling in, though.
Hey, anytime, brother.
All right,
have
man.
a good night.
Take care.
Yeah, definitely, bro. We love you that you called in, man. We really do.
All right, so appreciate
500,000. That's a lot of pigs' feet.
Yeah. So I mean, if y'all got it, call in if you got it, because I know they're gonna have it for us for this fresh and fit piece we about to get to. But Mr. Clyburn, in essence, I can't hear what he's saying. I don't know what's going on, but y'all can hear it. He ain't really talking about nothing. He just talking about how he just gave people money, but he won't even acknowledge us needing money.
Right? It's about
your ears is naturally tuning out bullshit, so that's why you can't hear it.
It's about what he's saying, even like the HR 1619, it's all this veiled.
He smiled when he said that shit too. That's so clever. That's an important number. I do declare, Mr. Nancy, I did do the good thing, didn't I? Like, God damn, bro.
Go ahead and play the rest of the clip, Darby. Then I think we can kind of jump into reparations candidates.
Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act
can't even say the shit.
Clarifies that the Catawba Indian Nation is subject to the well-established rules and regulations of the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act on their modern and ancestral lands in the state of North Carolina. This legislation will clarify the tribe's 1993 Land Claims Settlement Act and reaffirm recent action taken by the Department of Interior to take land into trust for the tribe. Most importantly, this bipartisan legislation is a very significant step towards rectifying historic injustices that have been perpetrated against the Catawba Indian Nation. Like in many other instances of current effects of historical inequities, the Catawba Nation experiences high unemployment and poverty rates, causing many of its citizens to rely upon federal and state governments for basic social service. The enactment of this legislation is critical to helping the Catawba Indian Nation secure economic self-sufficiency as Congress originally intended when it passed the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act of 1988. I respectfully ask my colleagues for a favorable vote on this act, and I yield back the rest of my time.
Mm-hmm. Now, the sad part is I think he actually wrote that legislation. So,
well, he wrote it, and then they put it in. What I understand, they put it in the NDAA. So that's the National Defense. What is it? The National. It's a National Defense something act. I forget what the other A is for, but it has nothing.
National
to do with
Defense Authorization Authorization Bill. So basically, that shit gonna get passed every freaking year. You know what I mean? Because it gets down to like this is the nuts and bolts of our national defense, but they sneak a lot of bullshit into it.
Non-germane.
Go ahead, Ernest.
No, I was saying it's non-germane, so it ain't even related to what that bill about, but it's shit that can get other people things. Yeah, they never did that with us. Snuck some shit in.
No,
they
always give me
they sneak shit out of our bills.
Right. Oh my goodness, ain't that some mess? That tells you how disingenuous these folks are who sit in these seats in the CBC. They ain't done nothing that put their bread at risk. They said, "Nah, buddy, I'm gonna be a good little cookie."
And another thing, despite what he said about high poverty and all of that, This is specifically for the Catawba tribe. This ain't for minorities. This ain't for no black people with the same issues.
It ain't for all Indians,
This ain't for all none of that. This is just for them. So, just keep that in mind.
And I know Kamala ain't signing this shit. I know if she was in Congress, she wouldn't be signing this shit.
Advocacy Foundation. That's American Descendants of Slavery.
Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Recently, the Congressional Black Caucus did a poll on Twitter in which the poll was, which legislative priority of the Congressional Black Caucus, CBC, do you want to hear more about and remain the most important to you? Voting rights, reparations, infrastructure, or the George Floyd Act? 57% of the almost 5,000 people who voted in that poll, 57%, Congressman, voted for reparations. More than the Voting Rights Act, more than infrastructure, more than the George Floyd Act. With this information, Congressman, do you and the CBC intend on making reparations for ADOS people a national priority?
It's always been a national priority. It's always been a national priority. And one of the things I want you and everybody else to understand, HR 40 is about establishing a commission in order to do necessary studies. And for people to tell me you go into legislation without we have hearings, you do was that we've had one hearing on HR 40, and we want to create a commission to do a study to find out how to do that. Now let me say this to you because I use this a lot. My late wife, great grandfather was a white guy. They bred him in Magnolia. North Charleston now. It's down in Magnolia. So all her grandmother, mother, they all were able to go to every institute that was established for the education of their lives. On her father's side, they were not allowed to go to Avery. They were not allowed to get an education. So how do we determine how to deal with that one?
What's this man just say?
See the double talk? And all he's talking about was a study. Keep that in mind. Only thing he was talking about is a study. This ain't to give us no economic self-sufficiency. This was just a study. And again, that poll did show that 57% of the folks, I actually remember that campaign, and it was digital, when asked what should be the legislative priority, this is how we responded digitally across all social media platforms on this question. We shared this to show. So,
overwhelmingly, very clear what you should be working on, but you did this. Okay.
And the least we want to hear about is like acts that are centered around the name of George Floyd, because we know what that's about. And that's the representation you see there. Infrastructure, what does it matter if we're not gonna get our fair representation there?
Right.
Reparations.
We don't even have the money to start companies to actually take part in getting contracts to rebuild infrastructure. So, and I'm going to do a whole separate video myself on Black business and how the idea of using Black business as the escalator out of our economic deprivation is a non-starter, because people think magically if Black supports Black, somehow, because we didn't do a Black supports Black mentality over the last 20 years, we've created our own failure. And it's a unfortunately very ignorant viewpoint. So when we talk about infrastructure, that can't work if we don't have enough money to actually be competitive to actually get the contracts, if we're even going to do it based on pure merit. But in reality, because we've had over 100 years of this problematic issue of our economic positionality in this country, this is well beyond anything that we can do within the four walls of just the community. We got to start pulling on the justice that we're overdue in order to be able to take part in, like, for instance, voting rights. Like, we're over here talking now about, what is it, the Morehouse? Isn't it your people, Stedman?
All right, yeah. Yep.
I mean, ain't they like they on the hunger strike or something, bro? They got to get them voting rights, boy. Tell you what. But like, what you gonna vote for? Like, ain't nobody putting nothing on the ballot. Like, that's what I'm saying.
But this ain't even like me and Gerard went to a meeting for Pressure, the Detroit Pressure organization, talk about voting and all this various stuff. There was a guy in there, you know, it kind of got a little, it didn't get tense, but he was just kind of like talking total bullshit. And I mean, you know, I try to be respectful and quiet, and he was just so much bullshit that contradicted why we were even there that I had to speak up. But he was like, ain't nobody impressed, ain't nobody in chains. And this is talking about black people, like, you know, and I'm sitting here like, well, you know, and I was quiet or whatever. Then he talking about nobody impressed. He said, bro, we just got done talking about how people in this room went to audit ballots for the last election for mayor, and the ballots, there was a discrepancy between the ballots and what was in the boxes, what were supposed to be in the boxes by whatever the label said, and what was actually in the envelopes. What are you talking about? We're not impressed. Even if we vote, even if you get the Voting Rights Act passed in Democratic cities, they don't want you to vote either. The Democrats want you to vote at a national level because that hurts Republicans. But at a local level, the Democrats don't want you to vote either. Detroit, they don't want you to vote. Dugan liked that you got 10% of the fucking voting population out because that benefits him. Janice Winfrey, that benefits her. They don't want they don't want 70% of registered voters to come out and vote.
Right. That's
voting
real.
rights only allows the Democrats to try their best to win national election.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
The presidency. They don't actually give a fuck about local elections. You didn't hear them passing out flyers and shit talking about vote for your mayor or your governor or for your council members this past election. Vote for Joe Biden. We got to get Trump out. And then we in the same fucking boat.
So, all right. So let's do this. Before we get into the fresh and fit situation, Gerard's going to walk us through that. He's going to give us the history on this gang. I do want to pivot. Like, we're looking at two black leaders. Like we said, we have Brenda Lawrence, and now we're talking about our old friend, Jim Clyburn. Listen, Jim Clyburn is as old as I have been in the movement, like in the sense that, like, that's the name that I heard very early on that's been problematic. It's a set of people. It's a set of individuals, Ernest, that are people who have been in the way or diverting energy away from the proper political strategy, right? Whether it be Brenda, well, it's not Brenda. I would definitely say Jim Clyburn and our old friend from Texas, Sheila Jackson Lee. And then we got other cats who just been getting in the freaking way, just doing the wrong thing. And then they get aided and embedded by external organizations. But what is this supposed to look like this year, Ernest? Like in 2022, what is black leadership supposed to be focusing on? Or at least what are the Freedmen, Freedmen Agenda League, sort of speak across the country doing? Like, what's the move now, man?
Yeah, I think that the move is definitely what that chart suggests, which is reparations. And across a few different states, there's already pushes and moves towards getting the study set up, if that's what it takes to at least get this thing initiated. But when we're talking about HR 40, we're talking about a legislation that's been in Congress for about 40 years now, and that has had no movement, and neither has any of these like black congressional figures that get elected have even tried to make steam go towards that in all of their tenure in office. Now, Jim Clyburn, we're looking at 29 years in office. And if we go through the tapes and the records, there's no instances of him trying to champion that bill until recent energy came onto the scene. We literally seen that with Barack Obama when the Democrats had a majority. Granted that there was a recession going on. The bill HR 40 was just a study. John Conyers was on the head of the Judiciary Committee. Jim Clyburn was the whip at that time. Brenda Lawrence wasn't in office, so we ain't going to include her. But all of these things, and they still have failed to produce anything significant specifically for the Black American community, for the historic injustices. So what does that mean? Like in 2022, it means in order for us to voice our distress against that, we need to start weaponizing our vote against those, like, I guess, those who have abused us politically. You promised that you'll get us this. You promised that you had our back. And the whole time you've only continuously gave us slack. So what we're looking for is an honest push from, I would say, U.S. freedmen towards actual candidates who will support our initiatives. And if our initiative is reparations, we're looking for somebody that could be considered a reparationist candidate. That's someone who I would say knows our history. They are of the lineage. They're specifically focused on securing and garnering the interest of our folks first. And granted, you have to be a politician, but there's nothing wrong for you to center yourself and what you come from if you're going to use this anyway to plateau your image or your political influence. Like, don't use the black race in our history and injustice to get elected, and then, you know, not try to champion it once you get into the office. So for real, what we're looking for is, you know, reparationist candidates, those who support reparations, that is specific, definitely addresses the harms that have been rendered. And understand that when we talk about the harms that have been rendered to us, it's not just about fixing the, fixing the unemployment rate. There's other things that need to be fixed with this with reparations legislation, specifically for Black Americans. And I think as 22 comes on, it's the midterm time. You know, if we really want to make a statement as to what the general election will look like in the next 2 years, during these 2 years, we need to get real active. I would say coalition build with other reparationists and freedmen, and make the goal reparations like it has always been, but with a specific focus on letting political parties know that we are weaponizing our vote and our interests, you know, specifically for our people. And do you guys have anything you want to add on that?
It was something you were saying that I did want to comment on, but now I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
you know, overall, I agree with everything you said.
go ahead, Stephen. You got anything?
No, it was something Ernest said, and I forget now. I'm drawing a blank, so I'll just.
I think 120% of what Ernest said, and I think that's the problem that we had at the top of the last presidential election cycle, right? We needed people to realize that the one tool we have in our hands right now, as we struggle to build the other tools or put them together, the one tool we have in our hands right now was our vote. And that's what we were supposed to do with this presidential election. We had like the most classic opportunity. We had one hand, we had Trump, which America wanted out. Then on the other hand, we had Biden, who basically was just Trump in disguise in a way. And Biden was a mess. And Black community knew that. The only saving grace in terms of identity politics, which truly was not a genuine identity, was Kamala Harris being Black, right? And that's not genuine to the intention of being Black in this country. Let me take a sidebar and make sure everyone understands this very clearly. When we talk about Black representation in the United States of America, what we're really saying is representation of freedmen in a position that they were denied and subjugated by, actually, historically speaking. So when you put anyone in the position who is Black, but they are not a descendant of freedmen, you have not accomplished shit. You have done nothing but actually insult us by promoting someone who came from outside the country and shares our race over us, yet we have built this country and we made this country what it is that even attracted that person to it in the first place. That is an insult of a kind that you can't put words to sometimes. And most Black people in this country, freedmen included, don't know how to put words to how bad it is. And so they just tune it out. Like, I realized just this past weekend, how especially as a Black millennial, how things can get so rough in just trying to live a daily life and aspire to your personal dreams, that you're going to want to check out from anything that's not explicitly along the critical path to your day-to-day dream, right? And so when people check into only focusing on that, that's exactly how we end up in this position. The whole thing about the talented 10th was true. The idea that we need to take our best, our brightest, our capable, and the people who have the wherewithal to know how to pull together A, B, and C and all the things necessary, whether they be in a college graduate or they not, you know, like us all on this panel right now, we need ourselves and all these other people who can make up at least 10 or 20% of the community to start pushing the right message and pushing the right policy, because the representatives we have in the House and in the Senate don't do shit. They just gave us a prime example of what they don't do. We have better luck at the state level. Matter of fact, looking right here, we got Gavin Newsom talking about California becoming the first state in the nation to mandate the study and development for proposal of reparations because of the past history of slavery, racism, and injustice, etc. Whatever their thinking is, they still did it. They only got the idea of this bill, maybe 2 years ago, Ernest? It's not been but 3 years. HR 40 been in the National Congress for like 20 years.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, even to that angle, Oregon's another state to be on the lookout for. They got Senate Bill 619. and they talking about giving $123,000 to specifically to the descendants of slaves in that state annually until for perpetuity. And that's like consideration that in their state specifically, they probably have a small enough Black population to fund it themselves. But if you're looking at it from a federal government aspect, we would still want it to be correct and solidified. But I feel like statewide, there's all type of initiatives going on, and honestly, that's only going to fuel the efforts to be focused federally. Like where are we going with this thing? Because if the federal government's not going to get behind it, then it's not truly going to be any what do they like to say, redress for the historic injustices. So
it's got to be from the top. It's got to be from the top down, just like they trying to do the Voting Rights Act is a good example of how the federal government is trying to do something from the top down, because states will do all sorts of willy-nilly shit. And so you have to go at the very top and enforce that they can't do certain things to subjugate or otherwise marginalize groups of people from voting, right? And so the same thing with reparations. The states will fuck that up sideways, upside down. And especially if you go to some Georgias, some Alabamas, don't even let us talk about some not Mississippi, but like, Louisiana's. Oh, I don't even know if them people going to even get their checks.
Right.
Let the state
what's funny about Oregon, as far as I know, Oregon is the only state in the country where the Constitution lays out that Black people cannot own property. Obviously, it's been changed, but they've got a very unique history of racism in Oregon too. So even though they're a Western state, they're considered super liberal now. They also have a very heavy white nationalist or white supremacist organization stronghold over there.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's where we got to go, man. People have to understand that we cannot move the racial wealth gap. We cannot deal with our systemic problems in our community, from over policing and police brutality to actual gang violence, without dealing with the overwhelming but underpinning of the economic depravity we're suffering. The accrued economic losses are just too great for anybody to dig out of alone. And we have a justice claim that fixes that. People just need to pursue it and stop acting like it's impossible. The moment you say it's impossible is the moment you give up the entire community's viability for the future. Like it's not impossible. You just don't have enough people yet.
No, that's a fact. And I say the last thing we need to do for 2022, or on top of all of this that we already doing, is motherfucking gatekeep.
We're about to gatekeep, right, Gerard? That's the move right now, man. We're about to talk about this situation, man. What y'all know about these cats? This Fresh and Fit crew.
Man. Gerard, you there?
Man, that's a great question. Is he there? I'm
fell asleep.
I hope not, man. I'm gonna throw him out.
You talking on that Spartan's will bullshit and see what happens.
Spartan's will that went to
Spartan's
sleep.
will not be here.
Spartans don't last. That's what he's saying. He's saying Spartans don't last. Oh my goodness. Are you?
I'm familiar with the issue though with Fresh and Fit. Right. In past shows, I think even though Steven and Gerard, you guys did a little pop up back just a while back when they got into it with, I think, another podcast, and they were throwing the N-word around. So with Fresh and Fit, what we got is two folks of Black immigrant heritage who are cosplaying, Black American culture to portray negative tropes, as well as attack specific stereotypes about our people. Where
hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast. After our position, we got a full house. Let's get right into it. All
right.
Spartans will be late,
bro. You there, Gerard?
I'm here. I'm here, man. Y'all feel me? I'm here, man. I'm here, bro.
Spartans will fall asleep.
Man, don't talk that Wolverine, bro. Don't talk that Wolverine bullshit, man. I'm here, man.
Will not show up on time.
Here we go. Hold on, Gerard. Let me wrap it up. So, Fresh and Fit, like I said, you got two folks who are from the, of the continent, And obviously they come from different Black ethnic groups than Black Americans, and they've been saying a lot of distasteful things. Now, some of these clips that we're gonna play today, we want our Black American U.S. freedmen population to kind of judge these words and understand that there's people who will be our what they say, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. This is one of those situations exactly. Just because we share the same skin tone, don't mean people are thinking of our people exactly the same way that we think of theirs.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to be portrayed. Go ahead, Gerard. We'll let you take it.
Look, man.
What do these dudes do, Gerard? Who are they?
So at the end of
what?
It's true. It's true. So one of the dudes, the fit guy of the Fresh and Fit is actually a freaking Fed. You know what I mean?
Fed?
Yeah, he's a Fed. You know what I mean? He's an FBI guy.
His real name is Amru Fadul.
Which one is that? Is that the taller guy or the darker guy?
Sudanese guy, the guy who looks Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. And he's got a podcast on the side. And so
just roll the clip. Just roll the clip. I don't even want to like.
So I got this tweet. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
part of it.
Lucy Love, it's not your preference that offends. It's the stereotypes, racist overtones, and general disdain and blatant disrespect of Black women that offends. It's 2022. When will we finally stop making excuses for this type of shit? Cancel this garbage, Fresh and Fit. Yeah, I already know.
Let me say this, though. What I will say is, the whole thing asking Patreon about platforming, don't do that shit, bro. If somebody don't like our shit, what you gonna ask? YouTube, you gonna let people talk about Black people over here? Don't watch their shit if you don't like their shit. Don't donate.
Gotta draw a line somewhere, right?
I'm saying, you asking them to fucking deplatform somebody, bro? You fucking authoritarian piece of shit.
All right, so I'm gonna play this. I can't hear it, so y'all gonna have to explain it to
me. Yum.
Go ahead.
About the Black dating app called Black. Oh, it's funny. I never used that one, bro. But hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
LaQuisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
bro, I'm good.
Sometimes if they're red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark. If you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay. So last.
I stopped.
So. Yeah. So with that being said, man, like the whole issue. Like, listen, I don't care about preferences. Guys can have preferences. They can like who they like and so on and so forth. But where it draws the lines is where you taking up white supremacists talking points. Shaniquas and all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you really are trying to talk down upon us. You know what I mean? Like, do y'all agree with that, or am I alone with that?
We definitely there with you. I mean, for me, I'll be quick. There, I'll say for me, it's always when you listening to these other Black ethnic groups, they not referring to people within their ethnic group, and you like with the names, the Shaniquas, and that's like racial undertones for what they trying to hint at with the Black American community, because we're sure that there aren't any Ethiopians or whatever the fit dude may be. There aren't any women of their culture with those names. You get what I'm saying? And that's the reality.
And what happens too, like this gets into the whole, like there's a lot of, I guess you would call it colorism, I don't know, racism, whatever, like in Middle Eastern culture too. So they have a perspective about Black people, dark skin or whatever. And obviously not everybody, but and so you have to factor that into what he's talking about. So you want to be here, you want to be Myron Gaines, you want people to think you Black or whatever, you want people to, but bro, like you sitting here talking about Shaniquas and shit, like bro, I mean, like, I don't have to resort to using derogatory, stereotypical names about you or your culture because I'm not going to stoop to that level. But like, who are you? Like I said, he's a Fed. His real name is Amruf Kadul. He might be in Miami as the government agent, or that might be the reason he's even in Miami in the first place doing what he's doing. And when you look at how much heat he's kind of been getting, how quick his program has grown over such a short period of time, you wonder where he's gotten that money from. And you look at the type of people he's brought onto his show, because he focused primarily on human trafficking. I believe it was with Homeland Security, but I cannot remember. I'll look it up. It makes you wonder, like, where he gets, if he's still being working with the feds in any capacity, or this is just because they say he retired, but obviously you'll never know. But like, bro, this shit ain't it. And it's important for us, you know, and I say this with the realization, like, people sometimes take a very utopian view about how you should handle these types of situations, or you take a utopian view about how, you know, if all black people just come together, we could gatekeep our culture. You're never going to have that happen, because there are still black people who agree with what they're saying. And I'm not talking about black as in skin. I'm talking about freedmen who might agree with what they're talking about. You have some freedmen who agree with a lot of right-wing perspectives, a lot of right-wing talking points concerning the black community, concerning, I mean, like Thomas Sowell is a black economist, and he agreed with a lot of that, like what you would consider like white supremacist stereotyping talking points. So you're not gonna ever have like a consensus, but it's important for those of us who understand what's going on. Just don't talk about I say this maybe a little bit hypocritically, but we're a news organization, so we gotta, you know, but don't talk about they shit. Don't watch them. Don't share it. Don't ask nobody to take this shit down unless they're committing a crime, because having his opinion, even if it's racist, racism in and of itself is not illegal, right? Being a colorist is not illegal, okay? If it's protected under the free speech, that's not illegal. But what we need to understand.
Wait up, Jarvell. Yo, highlight that what my man said. What did he say?
But what we need to understand is that people.
To Zonia Flakes, folks should complain to his fair boss about his bigotry. That's a Freedmen.
That is important. It is important to understand how that would affect a person's ability to do their job properly. You know what I'm saying? How do you do your job properly holding these beliefs?
Oh, wait. Somebody said something about me? Hold on. Get out there. What they say, Darvell?
Hey, you lit, boy. But
yes, I am. What they say, Darvell? What they say, Darvell?
They said you lit.
Hey, it's all good. Here's the thing about my people, man. Yeah, at the end of the motherfucking day. At the end of the motherfucking day, I'm all about, hey, fuck it. Wolverines, Spartans, I'm all about my fucking people, man. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the fucking day.
Ultimately, that's the truth, right? All this banter we talk about, I ain't got no money invested in either one of these motherfucking institutions. But ultimately, we agree that this problem exists and we need to address it, right? These people are able to come into our communities. They're able to take our culture. They're able to use it as a stepping stone for their own progress, because we like to latch on to anybody with brown skin who talk like us, who acts like us, and act like, oh, you an ally, you a friend, you good, you one of us. And that's not true. That's not true. And even if they black, even if they freemen, like I said, look at Jim Clyburn.
Don't mean
nothing. Doing me no good.
Hey, and it's funny because it say shaking my head, they really hate black women. And it's not black women globally. This is a specific ethnic targeting that we need to stay, keep that on the table.
We got to keep that focus. And that's the thing. Like, people get very, you know what? I'm not even going to say people are sloppy with their language. I think that still our community overwhelmingly doesn't have enough appreciation to understand the tribal difference. Like we talked about it, Yvette Carnell talked about it very early on about like trying to describe what are freedmen compared to every other group of the black of the African diaspora. And a good way to put it is tribes, right? And the idea that even within one country you can have multiple tribes, and then those tribes really do have issues with each other, or they at least are different culturally enough that you don't just mix the two up. And that's clearly what's going on here, is they are saying that these people hate this tribe of freedmen. This tribe is the descendants of freedmen and freedmen in general, not anybody else who's black in this country. So when you start having the discussion around who they talking about, you got to understand they're not talking about anybody who look like them. No, they talking about people who came from here. And that is a big difference. And that's why we get to this discussion about having the gate up, because you already know you can't trust anybody who look like you just based on looking like you. Ask Obama, ask Kamala, ask Clyburn. You got to at least have the lineage down, baby. And then even if the lineage ain't gonna prove nothing for you, because Clyburn will show up and take your money and give it to the damn Indians. I mean,
right.
And
this is the thing for me,
exactly.
You know, people make jokes, but he's with the Shaniquas. Like, motherfucker, every name is made up. Every name is made. My name is made up.
Exactly.
Every name is made up. Even if it means, well, what is it? Does it mean something? Like Kamala Harris' name means lotus flower in Hindi. So it just means flower. It's made up. Your name don't mean nothing because Amru means something in Arabic, bro. Your name ain't more valuable than Shaniqua or Bonquisha or whatever them dumbass jokes they try to make. They're all made up. All names made up.
Yeah.
Your culture ain't no more valid than mine because I had to create mine in a country where my people was enslaved and cut off from their history. That'll make your shit more valid. You still came over here.
But Darvell. This is what I want you to hit up on. Can you look up the Fresh and Fit rebuttal?
They had a rebuttal on their Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, not Facebook, on their YouTube.
On their YouTube, yeah. Because like, this was the shit that really incensed me, was the fact that, you know, they kept talking about, you know, nigga don't, you know, they're black. Because like the immigrants say, well, we're black. If you know, because honestly, they like Amadou or Fitz, you know, the Sudanese dude would say, like, oh well, if I came here in the 1950s, I would be black, and so therefore I can use the word nigga like you like use the word nigga. Like, no, bruh, you can't. You know, this goes back to yo. I'm relying on y'all to back me up on this. Muhammad Ali talked about.
2022, baby. It's litty. It's litty.
Hey, no. Listen to me real quick.
It's litty.
Hey, no, I got you, Gerard. I got you.
We agree with you.
I got the clips for what Gerard talking about in the 1950s.
Drop them.
All right. In the 1950s, Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X specifically squashed all of this. Africans would have been treated the same. And so I'm gonna send those to you, Darvell.
Well, even this, Abdul Duke Fakir from the Four Tops. I think his dad is Bangladeshi and his mom is Ethiopian or whatever. You know, it's if you are raised in our culture and you marry our people and you want to be a part of our group and you actually claim, you don't have the ability to claim our lineage, but what that does do is it allows us to understand that you are trying to fight for our cause. You are actually an ally. You've invested yourself to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't get to claim a lineage. I don't get to be Japanese if I got a Japanese wife. You know what I'm saying? But you're not doing that. I don't date black women. I don't night ride. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? You're not one of us. If you came here in the 50s, they'd send your ass back. That's what they do because they wouldn't let brown people in the 50s over here like that. So I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting.
This is the clip you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please do that. God damn, man. Y'all going savage tonight, man. God damn. But go ahead, man. Yo, speak on that. Speak on that.
Is it not playing to you? Oh, it's not. It's an okay. Darvell don't know what he's doing. That's what's up. Yep. I was sitting here listening to something.
Too busy making cards.
No, man.
We couldn't eat in the restaurants in Louisville. We couldn't eat downtown. One day I saw 2 Africans go in with their robes and their turbans. They couldn't speak English. I heard the man say, "Let them in. They're not Negroes." I said, "Something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black, because they're so black and they're blue, but they went in." So I said, "Well, I get my Olympic gold medal, then I'll go in." I went and got my gold medal, went back in, ordered 2 cheeseburgers, and they said, "Sorry, we don't serve Negroes." I said, "I don't eat them either. Just give me 2 cheeseburgers." And she said, "You're getting smart." She called the manager, and he said something about, "I don't care who he is." She said, "Just like, I don't care who he is." Anyway, but the idea was I couldn't eat there, so I got so angry. I drove Dutch to the Ohio River and stood there and looked at the gold medal, and I could imagine that American flag waving when they play the national anthem when I beat the Pole, the Russian. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm standing with the medal on. Dun, 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 dun. I said, "Boy, I'm going back to Louisville. I can eat now. I can go to the restaurants, put them on the spot. They can't put me down there. I'm the champ of the world. I'm in a big country like Rome, representing the United States, one little city named Louisville, and now I done beat the whole world. Boy, dun, dun." They put me out of that restaurant. I said, "This medal ain't worth a damn." I've become so frustrated. Now I wish I still had it because I wouldn't become as frustrated now. But at the time, I took that medal and said, "It ain't worth nothing. I don't care." I took it off my neck, said, "It ain't no good. It ain't." Throw it to me in the Ohio River. I hear there's problems in Australia just like there are in America and other countries. But to all of those, regardless of you're Australian, whether you're black or white, it's one thing I want you to always remember. It says, when we mistreat others, we are certainly mistreating the artists who created them. If we realize this, it would not be difficult to feel God's presence everywhere. As I repeat, when we mistreat others, we are certainly mistreating the artists who created them. If we realize this, it would not be difficult to feel God's presence everywhere.
That brother Muhammad Ali could talk, bro.
Yeah, when he could talk, and it's really sad that, you know what I mean, like at the end of his life, he was feeble. You know what I'm saying, and he really couldn't express himself the way that we talking today. But at the end of the day, the point of all of this was to say, man, you know, it was just ridiculous, man.
Hey, I got another clip, Darvell. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh man, screw you. Oh man, I swear to God, I hate U of M fans, man. I hate them. But go ahead.
I'm waiting on Ernest's clip. So anyway,
I got a clip. If it's not that same clip you got, Ernest, I got a clip of Michael. I mean, not Michael. I'm talking about Michael Jackson.
But anyway, these guys are trash.
Huh? Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. But Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, there's a clip of him giving a talk, talking about how everybody gets treated differently. I have to find it now.
It's at Darvell, I just sent it to you. It's at 9:30. That's where the clip began, 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
Might be a round table. So this might be it then. But it's crazy because...
Yeah, I know the clip you talking about, two-step. It was one on like... are you talking about the one on affirmative action?
It was about...
compensation?
Well, it was just talking about American Negroes and our problems.
Okay.
But it's not it.
All right, so let's listen to this one real quick. Y'all going to have to tell me what it say.
Slavery, by the slave master. And right today, it's a term that is used only to point out the descendant of slaves. It's never used for black people, period. Africans can come to this country. They aren't called.
Yeah, or like 9, you can start at like 9:17. It's cool.
That I guess academics who haven't had any, I don't know, more important things or more pressing things to focus on have concerned themselves with.
Negro is a term that was applied to us during slavery by the slave master. And right today, it's a term that is used only to point out the descendant of slaves. It's never used for black people, period. Africans can come to this country. They aren't called Negroes. And if they are called Negroes, they resent it. So if Negro meant black, as we've been taught, it would be a term that would be applicable to or pliable to everyone.
But
yep, and that's it right there. So you got Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, two pillars, saying that in that time frame, it wasn't if we was all black that it really we would get the same amount of racism, the cops pulling us over and all of that other shit.
Well, we didn't keep the gate up. What? Go ahead.
And this is something we talked about yesterday, but I wanted to kind of highlight this situation as far as the immigration debate and look at how that extends to immigration at large. And so when we look at a lot of different groups now, you'll see groups saying things like, like they got this new Marvel show coming out on Disney Plus, Miss Marvel. She's a Pakistani Muslim. She lives in New Jersey. And they talk about, I guess within the same universe is like Thor and Iron Man. And she's like, I never knew I could be a superhero. I don't know how, I didn't read comics because when I was growing up, comics was for nerds. So I never read them. Like, that's just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not judging anybody who reads comics. I'm not judging it. But I'm just saying, like, that's how I looked at it. Like, I never read comics. I thought they was for nerds. And so I don't know how she got her powers, but she has these powers. And so there's a Pakistani woman is in charge of something at Disney, Marvel, over this show. And I think she has something to do at Marvel to like in the creation of this character. And they got different Pakistani writers and female writers. And one of the ladies, she's about our age. Somewhere around our ages. She says something like, when I was coming up, I didn't see any people in comics who look like me. And it's like, what is the reasonable expectation that a Pakistani woman in her 30s, late 20s to early 40s would see in America a Pakistani superhero in the comics? Right? What is the reasonable expectation that you would feel represented in American culture?
We barely represented.
At least, I mean, I could see if the population representation got at least above 5%, then you deserve something in the memes, in the mainstream or in the media. But like even to Miss Marvel statement, like that character was like historically white, and so what you see now is through immigration, there is a shift in the narrative of like how we portray cartoons and these things to be inclusive, but at the same time, there's a bit of disingenuousness when it comes to us. Like we have to be like specifically Africans and not Black Americans who come from this country when we talked about through a hero lens or through a political lens or anything else. And so, that's a part of the issue, I say.
And see, and so that's the thing too. Like when you look at with us, and this is like what I said yesterday, when you look at us, we've been here as long as white people have been here. And for a lot of we've been here longer than they've been here, our ancestors, our connection to this country. So for white people to act like they don't understand us or they don't understand what we're looking for or they don't understand Black people culture is disingenuous, it's crazy, it's a lie. Our culture is American culture, right? I like hot dogs, I like baseball, I like rock and roll. What I'm doing is American. I like apple pie. I like Chevys. Right? I'm an American. My cultural reference, my perspective, my point of view is America. My point of view isn't somewhere else. So when you act like we don't know what's going on with Negroes, what do you guys want? Who are you? What do you mean? We picked your cotton, we made your bed, we cooked your food, we raised your kids. I personally know people who remember their mothers wet nursing white kids.
Ooh.
Right? So what do you mean you don't know us? You drunk from my mama's boobs. You suckled my mother's breasts.
Wow.
So what does that mean? But
That's
if, like
wild.
I say, you Pakistani, is it reasonable to expect in a country that you are first generation or second generation citizen of to see yourself represented when you are not a large proportion of the population? If I go to Japan, am I going to be expecting to see soul food restaurants? Am I going to expect to see black barbershops? Am I going to expect to see black cultural symbols or American cultural symbols?
Damn sure ain't gonna be elected.
Right. Well, I'm not gonna get elected, but I'm not, and nobody would expect to see it. And if I went to any of these countries and made a big deal about it, people would act like I was being unreasonable. And it's like people have this perspective of America as a melting pot that doesn't really jive with the reality of America as a melting pot, because Black Americans have always only ever wanted to be American. That's all we ever tried to do was be American. That's all we ever wanted, was to be accepted for who we are as American people. Right? We never wanted to be something different. Right? That's why even we call us African American. American is there because this is where I'm from. I don't wear the flag and I don't wave the flag and all that bullshit. I'm not kneeling. I'm not doing none of that. But I'm an American because I'm born here. My people died here. They built this place for free. So I'm not trying to be something. I'm not trying to make America something culturally different. I want them to be more just. I want America to stop doing imperialism. I want America to be more fair. But I don't want America to be culturally different. I like cereal for breakfast. I like eggs and bacon and sausage and pancakes and toast. Right? I like steak and eggs, or I like steak and potatoes. I like what Americans like. I'm an American. But what happens is these immigrants, same with Fresh and Fit, you come to this country, you adopt our language and our culture for your benefit. You adopt our struggle in name only, in language only, but you don't connect to our cause, right?
Hey,
so we in the bottom. You use us for a step. Use our culture. Use the civil rights movement. Use our struggle as a stepping stone to elevate yourself.
But not only that's the biggest, I guess, not even that, but that's the last piece to add on to that is that. But at all of that you said, at the same time, they slowly twisting our narrative and replacing us with them in any narrative. Like that's what we're seeing. And so this clip I just sent to Darville, it's meant to serve as your man's now. Will Smith been doing a lot of good work. He had just dropped that King Richard, and we all thought that was good. But he's also doing him and NBC is doing a recasting of Bel Air or the Fresh Prince. And they're doing a drama.
Hold on.
They're doing a drama.
I like it.
Hold on. Jerry. So we got our caller man came back. So
all right, let's go ahead
real quick, and then we're gonna wrap into it. Can you hear us?
I can, man. I just had to come in and help y'all, man. You remember on the Temptations when Paul got too drunk to do the show? And Eddie said, I ain't going on without Paul. And they had to bring the mic from backstage and let the dude sing for Paul. I'm going to try to help y'all out right now with that, all right? Because my brother over there tore up. I could tell, man. But any other ways, look, this is what I want to say about what Ed said. Right?
Don't do me like that.
It's all love, man. You ruined the show, though. Instead, look. Instead, I want to say something about what you said earlier, right? About the Pakistani woman, right? I'm gonna touch on another point that some of the people listening, they might not like what I'm getting ready to say, right? But I'm gonna say that kind of opinion, right, that she garnered was actually from feminism. I totally do not believe that any male Pakistani guy that was running for office, right, will bring up certain points like that, because he would already know. He would be too busy trying to fit in with white America to get that spot. He would understand, hey man, you just gotta play as white as you possibly can, right? We're not gonna really go to that. But I'm gonna say that by her being a woman, right? The women, man, they're so free they don't even know how free they are sometimes, right? To say these kind of things, like you said, like
hey, stop. Yo, man, this is my brother calling in, man.
I mean, I don't know. He didn't
Definitely
introduce
it is,
himself.
man. If you don't know my voice, man, I don't know how I'm trying to save you right now, man.
Oh, nigga, it's my brother. It's my brother calling in. It's my brother calling in, man. Yo, we gotta talk, bro. We gotta talk.
It took this guy this long. It took this guy this long to know his own brother's voice, man. You hear this?
Hey, he is pissed, bro.
Hey,
man, he gone, bro. He gone, man. But listen, I want to make this point.
Hold on, Gerard, let him wrap up.
It's my brother calling in, nigga. Well, go ahead. Go talk. Go ahead, talk your talk, man.
I just wanted to say that energy was a feminist energy to even, like you said, to be like, I'm not represented in a comic book. I've never seen myself. Like, what are you talking about, lady? Like, what? Like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are these things even geared that way? Who are the writers, right? But when Russ, my boy Black Contraband, right? When he said, he was like, look, if you can raise your population over 5%, then I feel like, you know what I'm saying, maybe we could start talking or thinking about, you know what I mean, you being represented some kind of way. Now listen, I don't care how high your percentage is. What is your contribution? Right? Nobody has contributed more to this country than Black people, man. Nobody. We talking about from the soil to however you want to take it, inventions, right? Like, come on, man. We're not even gonna go there, right? And you know, I'm just saying, man, you got to be in a certain mind state, right? It's like we really literally, a lot of people, right? I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people only live it's like we play for teams, man. Like if you're a guy, you play for the guy team, right? And if you're Black, then you play for the Black guy team, right? And it's like people can't see outside the uniform that they look at in the mirror, right? To be like, wait a minute, man. My perspective isn't the only perspective. That's the unselfishness that I feel like, I hate to say this, ladies, I don't feel like a lot of women have. They don't. They don't have the ability to really look outside of what they see in the mirror, right? That's why I said I don't feel like a Pakistani man would have got up there and said that if he was running for office. He would understand, hey, man, the goal is to win this thing, and I got to be as white as possible to do that. So I'm gonna let that. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about that. That's just my opinion on that. But I appreciate it, man. I'm out here, man.
Bye, man.
Bro,
Hey,
eat a sandwich, man, and soak some of that up, man. We out of here, man. Give me up, man.
He gone, man.
Don't do that. Don't do that, T. Don't do that, T. Yo, man.
Man, we know your man's in them because your man's over here drinking too.
Gerard, get your man's now.
Oh man.
You are listening to your man's now. This your man's. Hey, yo, who man's is this? Hey, yo, who man's is this? Hey, yo, who man's is this?
Whose man's is this? I need to know. I really need to know.
All right, so
hey, man, that was my little brother, bro. I give it up to him, man. Like for real, T. Call me up, man. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I know you're a University of Michigan fan, man. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, that's why he's so composed. See, that's why he's so composed. So you told me everything I need to know now. We're gonna have to get him on the show. We're gonna have to, bro.
All right, so let's watch the video, y'all.
I love my brother, man. That was my little brother, man.
Before we play the video, fair use for sure. But before we play the video again, this is a remake of the Fresh Prince. All right, go ahead, play it.
Yo, that's just fire, bro. That's just fire, though.
All right, you going on mute now? Bye.
I was wondering what you was waiting for. You mute me all the fucking time.
Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that.
We can't hear.
How did you come off of mute?
Yeah. Let's play it.
Let me see if it'll play. Hold on. Can you tell me? If you
Hey,
can
but it's fire though. That's a good. They doing really good stuff over there on Peacock.
Hold on, mute up real quick. Try.
Let me see if this works.
This time we're trying to make you
Can you hear it?
who you are.
Yeah.
And where you came from.
Don't mute me, bro.
Don't let it do that.
Damn. Jeffrey Thompson, house manager.
Well, oh, Bill.
10 years is a long time.
Let me show you around.
Where them dimes at?
Hillary. Let's go find you something fit for a prince.
What do you think?
I made you look.
Yo, Uncle Phil. Glad you're safe. We'll talk later.
Cause it's real.
Yo, is this really baby Ashley? You're a long way from home, Mom. Oh, Tim, how you been? You know, thriving. I hope one day we can talk about why you're really here. Do you know why I'm here from Philly?
Scrapping the bull court. Got nasty.
Who threw that? Was it you?
Now some bad man from Philly, he want to deal with you.
Boy, I moved mountains to get you here. So here's the story. Came to Bel Air for a better education. Simple. Be patient. Give this a real chance. We have a different set of rules here, okay? If you want to do well, just keep your head down and follow my lead.
Whoa. Man, you know I'm gonna rep West Philly wherever I go. Yo, King, what's up, man? No love. Look around. These are my people. What? Now on, steer clear. Welcome to Bel Air. What the hell is my life?
Yo, chill out, bro.
Maybe Will just isn't cut out for this. Why are we working so hard to save a boy who doesn't want to be saved?
Because we owe it to him.
A real man takes responsibility for his actions. A real man knows when to let go of his pride and make the most out of a second chance.
Be the Will who charmed West Philly with his talent and swag.
Let the music diffuse all attention. Get out my face, you people so phony.
Oh, HBCU.
So,
King of the town.
So,
hey,
all right, bro.
So,
Your man's in them on 1,000. Go on ahead, Ernest.
So that's the Fresh Prince remade in the first generation experience completely.
Is that Fresh Prince or Power?
Right. Go on ahead, man. Go ahead.
So several leads are African, and again, we know what Fresh Prince is about, and what kind of got it to pop globally was this, the black investment and the black storyline that was being told. And I feel like as we gearing forward towards the 2030s, 2040s, there's a deliberate effort to try to introduce the new narrative of this is what it is to, suffer in America. We understand, we get it. We all black. And at the end of the day, I think this show is going to get some pushback, because I think on Clubhouse and several other places, some of the feedback that we've been seeing from Black Americans is, what's up with the blackwashing? That's not even I guess not even blackwashing, but what's up with the rewriting of our representation?
Hey, but listen,
yeah.
But yo, hear me out, Ernest.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? They were you know what I'm saying? Like, with the black women, they love that dark shit. You hear me?
What you talking about, Gerard?
Hey man, why you trying to make me out like I'm like I'm silly, man?
No,
listen.
What you talking about? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Bruh. Hold on.
I agree with what you're saying. Because the dark skin, I think dark skinned men are popular. Dark skin, there's this push for like a more dark skin representation in media. You remember, the only dark skinned person on Fresh Prince was really Aunt Viv, and then they switched her out. And so there was Jeffrey, and I mean, he wasn't really a main character. So I get what you're saying, but I was talking to my wife. We watched the clip. I said I could tell Carlton is African because ain't no American got a hairline like that. Period. Period. But I just feel like it was unnecessary to remake this in that way because Fresh Prince was funny and it was intended to be a funny show. It wasn't intended to be this way, and so I feel like it's trying to like I said, it's trying to bite on the hype of power and the popularity of power and shows like it, and it's doing something that ain't nobody asking for. Peacock is really a Peacock is an attempt at NBC to have a streaming service because everybody got one now, and so they really just looking for business. Fresh Prince was a great show because they weren't regular black people, but they were regular people. Uncle Phil was fat. Carlton was weird. He fit in with his schoolmates as it was, but as far as black people are concerned, Carlton is not what you would consider a stereotypical black person. So it was the opportunity for Will, who represents regular black people, to go to Bel Air, right, in from West Philadelphia to LA, to go to Bel Air and live with these rich black people, a Republican uncle who's a judge, a cousin who's a young Republican at prestigious Bel Air Academy, and we got a chance to look at and laugh at the juxtaposition between their lives together. Will coming from this, typical black existence to humanize those people and give them some grounding in what regular life is, but also for him to learn Uncle Phil wasn't always the way that he was. He had a revolutionary background for whatever that meant to his character development as it was, and that was funny. What is this shit?
This is man.
I don't know, man.
Hold on.
I like it though.
Let me point out one more thing. Being released in Black History Month.
Oh, really?
Next month.
That's bullshit. So listen, here's my
problem.
problem.
I like it, man. Fuck out of y'all talking about, man.
One more point. Carl, remember Jeffrey character was British in the original series.
Yeah.
They stuck to that consistency and went out of their way to find another a black British person to play his role specifically. But when it comes to all of the other roles that could have been specifically Black American, anybody can play it.
Yeah, this is problematic. So listen, and Gerard, please hold, because I think that I think I need to say something. Listen, like from my point of view, I got a big problem because a lot of this shit, forgive my language, viewers, I apologize sincerely, but I gotta put some language in here to push the apex of the crux of this issue. That a lot of this stuff that's coming out, not even just TV shows, but a lot of things. Like we just seen, what is it they just did? They done the quarter, man. Who they just put on the quarter?
Maya Angelou.
Okay, that's pure symbolism. This is aspirational TV combined with some type of black hit known as Power, combined with nostalgia, right? They went and done a remix of all three of these things to try to make something that gets them money. And they did a huge disservice to the community that they claim to be representing in the process, because this doesn't represent us by a long shot. And then there's a lot of problematic shit in it, because even though some of these things may exist, we don't need to perpetuate them. And they're going to frame them in a way that gives them credence that they should not have. And one of the things I'm going to go in on, and I'm going to catch all the hell in the world for, is there was a scene I seen right here. Alpha Phi Alpha, right? That's what that is, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got the frat brothers. We got the frat brothers doing their thing right here, right?
Yeah.
And so what they're doing here is they've done a huge play on the Talented 10th, because you got to be. This is Pops, right? This is Uncle Phil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Uncle Phil got to be in a fraternity in order to have this type of life. So now they're going back to the whole idea of the Talented 10th by underpinning the fact that they have this life in Bel Air or whatever. And this is a problem, because the Talented 10th, as far as the black community is concerned, ain't doing shit. The Talented 10th is worthless. The Talented 10th ain't done nothing for us from the beginning of time, and we still got problems with them right now. And here's the issue. When you broadcast these images, you sell black people, black millennials, black Gen Zers, this idea they can be like this. And the fact is, these folks rode over their community and left people dead, just like fucking Wakanda. in order to get to where they are now. And this is nothing more but an additional parlay off of the same ideology that there exists some cove of black people with magical powers that you can feel proud of being connected to, and that they're going to come and save the rest of the community. And in this particular show, they saved one young man, and they made a parlay off of an entire sitcom that the black community identified with historically. That's a disrespect to the sitcom, because that's not what it's supposed to be. I mean, because that's not what this doesn't do what that sitcom did. And this also continues with the perpetuation of this idea that there's an escape hatch from the black community that allows you to still be black, but you can go out and live a life of a white person. Fuck that. That is not the image we need to be broadcasting, because we got to have collective uplift of these people to even succeed. They probably doing all sorts of stuff to get white money to get here, and they left people dead and behind. And this is part of the problem. And it just disgusts me, because this show it's just rife. Just looking at this 3-minute trailer, it's rife with problems. I remember who had the accent who said, "Oh, why you here?" I thought that was Uncle Phil at first. I don't need to hear that was somebody with an African accent.
That was Jeffrey. That's supposed to be.
Oh, that was Jeffrey?
Yeah, it sounded like that.
See, this is the thing for me. This show might be good, but don't call it the Fresh Prince, or don't make it Fresh Prince, right? Just make it a different new show with a new intellectual property. Because I feel like the damage is more because you've taken the Fresh Prince and changed it and made it this. I'm surprised, and obviously we don't know yet because we ain't nobody watching. I'm surprised ain't nobody LGBT in this motherfucker.
Oh, you probably you don't know? It's probably some gay.
Well, yeah, you don't. I'm sure either Ashley or Hillary gonna be. I'm sure. You know, that's what I'm surprised about. But it's just impractical, right? It's impractical. This whole shit is impractical. How you gonna have a guy like Jeffrey looking like that, working as a butler, living in somebody's house? Right? That's impractical. The whole thing is impractical. Just make a new show. Make a new show. It's still gonna be bad, but make a new bad show and use a whole new intellectual property. Don't kind of call it the Fresh Prince. That's Fresh Prince was culturally, it was socially significant because of what I said, right? Because it gave an opportunity for black to show like a juxtaposition between everyday black people and rich black people and how they interact. They had some inconsistencies, trying to play on the fact that they were poor at some point in time historically, and then they moved to LA because Uncle Phil graduated from law school. And so they tried to do that to like ground them, the Bankses, but it didn't really stick because, it was inconsistent. But like, The Fresh Prince was a great show by itself. It had flaws. I'm not going to dispute that because, it still seemed like it was trying to talented 10th black people, even but Uncle Phil and Carlton and all that. But at least because it was a comedy, because Will was who he was, the show wasn't trying to be a gossip show. It was lighthearted. It was really just like an Odd Couple, right? We don't need this grounded in reality show. It serves no greater purpose for us, for me.
I don't know, man. I want to see that shit. I want to see.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that the idea is bad. I'm saying that they shouldn't have called it Fresh Prince.
We don't
I'm not saying the show was
we don't
not
need this shit,
interesting.
period, bro. Like they keep coming up with stuff nobody needed.
I'm not
And
gonna
you know
watch
what
it. Period.
Part of the problem is this crackhead right here.
Will
Roll this
Smith
credit. Will
signing
Smith
off.
is a huge fucking problem. He perpetuates this shit, and that's the problem. You talk about cancel culture. He should have been canceled about 3 years ago. He should have been canceled, and somebody should have took the lawnmower, turned it on high, and went straight over his head. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean
why, but why, Darvell? To explain to me why.
It's dangerous, bro. It's dangerous.
And he continues that shit on social media. He gives people these miniature escape hatches, and he never advocates for the people who put him on. All he does is an all piecemeal train that looking like some Clyburn. He's a problem.
Well,
and that's exactly the problem.
And like we talked about yesterday, it's the same with the Cosbys, right? Because they glamorize HBCU with the Hillman and all that shit. Bro, HBCUs ain't all that. We talked about it. Me and Ernest talked about it. I went to Morehouse. He went to Central State. They not all that.
They ain't all that.
I'm not bitter.
You know what?
It's not all that.
And I'm gonna take this liberty real quick, because the thing about HBCUs is that people forget why they came into existence, and they now have super forgot why we still need them today. And if you just think about closely why we still need HBCUs in 2022, not need them as in we should get rid of them, but why they're so important still today, you would clearly see there's a deficit still present in our community that needs to be addressed. And yet after 50, 60 years, we haven't been able to address it. I would think that would cause you some concern. Okay. And if you can't seem to find any concern in your heart for the fact that we still got students underperforming, that we still got people who can't afford to go to schools, that we got to create schools that are handicapped so they can actually get into a school, because these schools missing a lot of money. If you got to create space for them to go, we need to ask, well, why do we have enough students to fill? How many HBCUs are they right now? Like 20?
No, it's more than that. It's like
less than 100 for sure. Yeah, less than 100.
So, I mean, I know that was bad guess, but I mean, the essence still is we got enough students to fill over 60, 80 schools.
107.
107. If we got enough students to fill over 100 schools, enough that they can at least stay in business, they haven't fallen off the radar totally, that's, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of students who need to be dealt with, who are going through SIT. Now, a lot of those students may choose to go for legacy reasons. They want to go to follow in the footsteps, this, that, and the third. That's fine. But when we talk about them not even having the option of going to a state school that's competitive for the industry they want to go into, that will give them opportunities in terms of that school having connections to that industry, and they're choosing to go somewhere else because they can afford it, or that they'll let them in with lower grades, or that they think that it's important to follow the legacy. Important to follow the legacy for what? That school still is not doing any better than when it was created.
The majority of your legacy HBCU attendees are only going to certain schools. Tuskegee, Fisk, Morehouse, Howard, Spelman. They're not going to all of them. You know what I'm saying? You have some who are, but majority of those ones going to the smaller HBCUs, they're not going to. They're not going. And this is the thing too. And this is the problem with holding on to culture and history, even to the point that it's detrimental. And I look at a lot of Japanese history and stuff, a lot of Japanese cultural stuff, and Japanese people do this too. Their country is really, they're stuck on like clinging to history, even to their detriment. But like some of these HBCUs that are in the same state, that are in close proximity, even if they're not in close proximity, they need to just merge. You need to just combine your school into one school, the 5 of y'all, and close. You don't need 107 HBCUs. You don't have the money. You don't have the resources of other types. You don't have the enrollment. You don't have the availability. None of that. You don't need to be. It don't need to be 107 of them, because that's 2 per state. Even though they're not, and they're not in every state. You don't have none really up north at all, because they weren't, by and large, they weren't necessary up north. So, you know, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia. That's all your HBCUs primarily. And you got 107 of them?
Yeah.
That's overkill.
Yep. Yep. And that,
yeah. Come February, though, we'll see how many people talking about HR 40 versus this Fresh Prince TV series.
That's what shit. That's what needs to be. I say, hey, what is that? Is that when they trying to run it to the floor?
I mean, they were supposed to do it this November, so that's been stalled. And you know, the Biden agenda has been stalled. Joe Manchin and other Democrats, even though they like to blame the Republicans. So you know, we in a situation now. Yeah, we in a situation now where HR 40 hasn't been passed. They had, you know, a semblance of the majority, you know, for the first 2 years of this Congress, and we don't know what happened. The Catawba tribe got bipartisan legislation passed like that, no issues. But we can't get the fucking study. It's a study.
The Asian hate crime bill. The Asian hate crime bill got passed, no problem. The trans bathroom shit got passed. I mean, like I said, is it a law? Is it a law that you can't help American Negroes? Is it a law? Is it some hidden law that we don't know about? You know,
you know, it's interesting. I think I did a video on my channel on YouTube where I talked about it's not impossible because the government can do shit like that if they want to. And we just ran off like 5 examples of shit that's happened within the last 2 years that came out of the middle of nowhere in essence, and just it got passed like a blink of an eye. And we can't even get, like Ernest said, a study. Like the HR 40, let's be clear, has problems and it should not be passed as is, but it's a great litmus test to say, well, why hasn't he even come to the floor? Even though y'all in Congress, or especially in the House, especially Sheila Jackson Lee and her comrades immediately around her in the CBC, they believe in the bill as is because they don't know no better, they don't care, and we got to move their mindset away from that. We gotta help them understand. But it's still a great, easy question. Do you support HR 40? Or more importantly, why hasn't it come out the vote if it's supposedly the solution that we need at this point in terms of the next steps? Even though it's a problematic bill, why haven't y'all brought it to the floor?
Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, they love the fact that they're going to lose in the midterms. Joe Biden loved the fact that Joe Manchin didn't support that stuff, so he didn't have to sign it or he didn't have to veto it. And just like we talked about with what's your rep, Ernest Slotkin.
Yeah.
When I said she voted against Nancy so she could tell her base I didn't support her, everybody else did. It's the same shit. They know how to play this game so we can all, they were supposed to give us $2,000 checks when Biden won, remember? That's why that whole reason they voted for old dude in Georgia to be in the Senate, right?
Yeah, they were Warnock. They was running off that.
Warnock and the other dude. Remember? You gotta get us in. We give you $2,000 checks. And then you get in, they talk about 600 plus 800 or whatever. Remember, they kept talking that bullshit?
Yeah.
It's all a game, bro. It's all a game. They control the media apparatus. And this is why they crack down so heavy on independent media and social media, because in these spaces, you're not limited. Your speech, what you say is not limited by anybody. And so you're able to give out information. You're able to give people a different perspective. You're able to give people the truth, at least as whoever's giving it is interpreting it, and they can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day when they controlled the TV, the radio, the newspaper, and when they said it was up, it's up. They said it's up. It's in the newspaper. It's in the New York Times. It said it's up. You had to believe it. But now they say it's up, and you can look out your window and say, well, shit, I got 5 people online said it's down.
That's true.
And so, they got to compete. They don't like that. It's changing their grip. You know what I'm saying? We have people who can comb, like we just did. You comb through the internet and look at videos of a guy saying this 6 months ago. And then 6 months later, he's saying this. And it's no trickeration. It's no editing. It's nothing. You just showing, hey, you said this 6 months ago. And now you saying this. You fucking lying. You lied. You misleading us. You couldn't do that before. You didn't have that control. You got it now. They don't like it. So, all these motherfuckers, they full of shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that too, Tizonia, as far as that comment, because I did just look at the articles. I could see them up there, the headlines for it. So I mean, that's interesting. I mean, it's about voting rights, right? Like if they could do that same type of thing, but for reparations, I think we'll start getting the energy we need. But
right,
yeah, it's that's interesting.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out a way to start put some ropes around some people's waists and drag them in, because people need to answer some questions. That's what needs to be happening. So we're going to have to think about that. Anyway, y'all, we better wrap this up.
For sure. I'll say closing comments for me, guys, is, as you guys can see, 2022 is going to be a rough ride. I'll say we still seeing the impacts of COVID. They don't know if they want to get us up to 4 shots, 5 shots, whatever that may be. But at the same time, this is a political year. So midterms are very important. We've already stressed the reason why. Even if the House shifts politically, none of this work that we're doing changes. We still got to get representation for our people, red or blue, no matter who's in there. And so as we go forward, the gates is up. We're talking about why these things are harmful to our detriment. We're not going to participate in ethnocide. And at the same time, we're really looking forward towards our political future and achieving reparations in this country. So that's my stance on that.
Stedman?
Kind of just to take off where Ernest took off, we have got to, and what you said earlier, we got to figure out how to mobilize. We're working on that. The Freedmen's Collective is working on trying to mobilize the community, trying to get out there and network with other organizations, other people, other groups who are interested in doing this work, because they don't have the control they thought they had, and they don't have the control we thought they had, right? All this shit they're doing is just like, since I'm not getting too much in the vaccine thing, but just like everybody, when you hear them talk about the vaccine, they say it's safe and effective, and it's the number one thing. Because I listened to the Senate, Supreme Court deliberation on the mandates. It's the number one most effective way to protect against serious injury and death. I don't know that. I didn't read the shit. I didn't read nothing about it. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen any evidence to prove that. And the FDA said they got to take 95 years to release the FOIA request, right? Because they could only release 500 pages a day, even though it only took them 108 days to approve the shot. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But as long as everybody say that, it's the truth, right? It's safe and effective. It's the number one most effective way to treat this. I don't know none of that shit. I don't know. I don't know anything. But what I do know is if everybody's saying it must be true.
You know,
and that's where the consensus work. So what we have got to do is shift the consensus. We got to take control of the narrative. We have to let people know. We have to empower people. We also got to figure out how to talk to white people. We have to focus on trying to get people to understand that if you see that the truth that you've experienced in your daily life, just like how they're showing pictures of the empty shelves and inflation, it's not what you seeing, what they saying, it's not what you're seeing. You got to call it out. You got to feel empowered to address that and speak on that and bring truth to bear to anyone. So that's what we're trying to do, figure out how to communicate. I want to bring energy for 2022. I want to bring enlightenment, power, love, right? Togetherness, passion with my three brothers here to do this show. We do this work for y'all because we love our people. We love our community. We love our country, right? We love America, right? We love America so much we wanted to do a hell of a lot better than it's been doing these last 200 years, right? That's how much we love it. So that's me.
Gerard.
So, with that being said, man, hey, man, I love y'all. Y'all my brothers, man. And I just leave it at that, man.
Hey, we have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent enemies.
You got to hit him with the quote.
Y'all know better than I do, man. Y'all know better than I do, man. You know what I mean? And I just leave it at that.
Bro. We got you, bro. We ain't gonna let you fall. You hear it?
Man, yo, fuck you. Hey, screw you, U of M. Screw you know what I mean? I'm a Spartans will. Go green, go white.
All right, so
go white, bro. Hold your lick.
I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna wrap this up. I thank everyone sincerely for tuning in today that came. I know a lot of people came and went. I'm gonna poke people in the eye. Get on here and watch the whole show. I know it's a lot that we go through. We appreciate you hanging with us. Please share and please tune in 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, we're going to be talking about some more stuff. So 2 weeks around 7-ish Eastern time, we're going to be back on this piece, doing the thing and having some more important discussion. And we're going to be dragging some bodies. We're going to be dragging them off of Twitter. We're going to drag them off the internet. We're going to have to go find these representatives. These folks don't want to talk. They don't want to be doing the right thing. And we're going to have to call them out on that. And that's what we do. That is what the Freedmen Collective does. Check us out on our respective social medias. But other than that, y'all, peace.
Wait.
And
wait. And just we're gonna try to do more cultural commentaries, movies, TV shows, media, like we did with the
2 movie reviews.
With the movies we've done so far, we are going to try to continue doing that more frequently. We're going to try to have more pop-ups. We might try to do shows more frequently than every 2 weeks. We don't want to commit to something we can't do, so we will let you know as they occur. We are trying to breed, we're going to try to upgrade. Hopefully this year you'll see us upgrading our equipment, upgrading our technology. We working on it. We Freedmen.
All right. Well, hey, peace, love, and reparations.
Peace, love, and reparations. Peace.